Run it up, the run it back. Run it up, the run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, the run it back. Yeah.
Friday! We made it. Welcome. Run it back. Happy mornings. Lou, this shirt is what? For good-looking people
This shirt
only?
is for good-looking people only. This is Akeem Ali merch. We about to go back on the road, so.
Well, I'm going to need that, obviously.
Double act.
I got you.
Chandler,
I got a small
not
for
as
you.
sunburned as we were hoping.
Not as what?
Not as sunburned as we were hoping. We're a little disappointed.
Yeah, you know what? It's Hawaii weather. It gets a little cloudy. It rains every day. It's not that Mexican Cabo sun that I'm used to.
It's Mother Nature.
And as long as you're respecting the animals, because I know that one guy got his ace beat, and he deserved it, and that's all in the news today. So I love that for everyone.
Wow.
We got Sam Amick coming up a little bit later. What, man? What?
I was trying to. I wanted to know what you were talking about, but anyways, we got basketball.
Oh, Google
time.
it. Monk Seal Lahaina. Boom.
Oh, he threw the rock at it. I saw that yesterday.
Cade, he's good. And that's all I got for you. You guys take it away. Cade Cunningham finishes with 25, 10 assists. Tobias, man, maybe he just earns his money in the playoffs. I don't know what to tell y'all. 21 points, 7 rebounds. Jaylen Duren with 8 and 10. Mitchell with 31, 3 assists. Harden, we'll get to Harden. 10 points, 3 assists, 4 turnovers if you're keeping track at home. But Cade Cunningham's 12 in the fourth was the big story, leading everybody in the fourth quarter during these playoffs period, by the way. Best closer, Lou? I know we love him. So now we can start really giving him all kinds of different glory. What do you think?
Yeah, I say he's playing well in the postseason, and that's what this team needs him to do for them to get past this tough Cleveland team. You know, so far they haven't made it much of a series. You know, they've had some close games, but when you have a Cade Cunningham closing it out and making play after play, it's going to be difficult for Cleveland to continue on in this way. And I got to shine a light on the other guys, Duncan Robinson and Tobias Harris. When you have those guys playing at the level that they're playing, it opens up lanes for Cade to play one-on-one. You can't trap him. You can't run guys at him. You can't take the ball out of his hands. You got to guard everybody honest. And that's what Tobias brings to the table. That's what Duncan Robinson brings to the table. And that's what makes Cade so successful. That's the version of this team that you wanted all along in this postseason. You know, I've said it before. I don't know whether Orlando just had a great game plan until it didn't work anymore. But this round has been a completely different experience for Cade Cunningham and the rest of the Detroit Pistons. So I like what he's doing. I like, especially in the fourth quarter, being your best quarter. That is the winning quarter. That is the quarter that's going to get you over the hump in these tough series like that. So for him to make this the most important quarter and the best quarter that he's performed in this series, it's going to be a long road for Cleveland to get back in this series, especially if he's going to continue to do that. Like, it was a couple of plays during this game. Dennis Schroeder, who's usually like 90% of the time is a really great defender. He just looks small against Cade Cunningham. He just looked undermatched. And then when he faces up, when he plays at the free throw line and all of that, it's just a tough cover for everybody. So is he the best closer in the game? I'm not sure. But right now, that's what you need from your team. He's absolutely doing it for his team and his group right now.
Yeah, listen, Cade Cunningham's been unbelievable. It's hard to say he's the best closer when SGA is winning Clutch Player of the Year, and they just barely have to close out games, though. You know what I mean? Like, when the game is tight, SGA is probably the best closer in the game. They just blow everyone out, especially in the playoffs. They haven't had really many close games at all, if any. But Cade Cunningham is so elite down the stretch. He's so dynamic. He can score in so many different ways that it almost doesn't even make you think about them not having that actual second option that we've talked about all season long, because they play such good defense. They're so tough. They keep it close, and then they just put the ball in Cade Cunningham's hands and let him do what he's been doing all season long, and that's get to his mid-range, get to the free throw line, get downhill and get to the basket, or make the right play. And he was a little careless with the ball in the first series. Now he's cleaning that up a little bit in this series against Cleveland, but he's been unbelievable for them. And like Lou said, those other guys, they've really stepped up. Even Jaylen Duren last night, you know, he only had 8 points, but I love the fact that he was kind of getting his bag and he was being aggressive and he was making Evan Mobley guard him at the top of the key and kind of trying to get downhill on him too. So all these other guys have stepped up. Cade Cunningham has been, you know, let's say he's the second best closer or third best closer behind a Jalen Brunson or a SGA. Like, there's so many great guards, But man, he has been unbelievable to where we don't even think about that second option come crunch time because the ball's in his hands and you know what he's going to do with it.
Well, that second option is there. That second option is there. Let's talk about it. Let's get into Tobias Harris.
Say it.
Yeah, let's get into Tobias Harris. We've talked about it. Like I've said it. They went out and got shooters. They didn't go get scores. These last 7 games, Tobias might have heard me. He said, "Bullshit, Lou Will. I'm a scorer. I'm a scorer." You know, before this run in 7 straight 20s, he hadn't had a stretch in this season where he's had back-to-back 20s. But if you're gonna find a time of year to turn it on and turn it up for your team, this is the time in the postseason. I love what Tobias is doing. He's not settling at the 3-point line. He's not settling for jump shots. Even the jump shots that he is taking, he's 10 to 12 feet from the basket. He's driving it. He's being aggressive. He's asserting himself in the offense. This is everything that the Detroit Pistons need to alleviate pressure from Cade Cunningham in moments like this. You need a secondary guy that's going to be able to score the basketball, that's going to keep the defense honest and not be able to trap you, not being able to junk the game up by running and jumping and having guys come guard you at half court just trying to get the ball out of your hands. Tobias is taking full advantage of that, and it's a domino effect. Once you have Cade rolling, once you have Tobias rolling, now that opens it up for Duncan Robinson to run off these screens. Like Duncan Robinson ran James Harden off of 3 screens yesterday, and James was so tired. He missed the shot, but they still got the offensive rebound because they were playing 4-on-5 because of the energy they were making him exert on a defensive end. And then once that happens, that opens up the lanes for Jenkins, for him to be successful behind the 3-point line. So once one guy gets going, it allows another guy and another guy and another guy to put production on the board for you. And this is the best version of the Detroit Pistons that we've seen so far.
Yeah, Tobias, he's always been solid, right? He's always been kind of that versatile Swiss Army knife where he can do a little bit of everything. But this dude that averaged 13 points in the regular season is now upped it to 21 in the playoffs, 5 rebounds in the regular season, 8 in the playoffs. Like he has taken his game to the next level when they need it the most, and when all the chatter and the media was talking about where is that 20-5 or 20-6 going to come from, it's Tobias Harris. And obviously we know Jalen Duren is probably their second most important player. Is everything he does. He's a rugged, big 5-man that they also need, and they need him to play well as well. But Tobias Harris has kind of eased that pain and kind of silenced that talk on that second option. Now, for a consistent full season, maybe he's not the guy at this age he is, but right now in these playoffs, 20-8, playing 36 minutes. Like, think about it. He played 28 minutes during the regular season. He's now playing 36 minutes in the postseason. So, like, this is a guy that they're relying on heavy. He always seems to hit big shots at big moments. And this is just like I said yesterday, he's a breath of fresh air for a guy like JB Bickerstaff, just to trust, he's got the experience. He's one of the older guys on the team. Like, he's not going to take bad shots. He knows how to play off Cade Cunningham within an offense. He has been absolutely phenomenal. And obviously, yeah, he's been the X factor, so far this playoffs, but Duncan Robinson's been great. This Dennis Jenkins guy, like he's unbelievable. Like the confidence he has with the ball in his hands, like Ron Holland is, again, he's given good minutes. He's just tough. It's like you take out one guy, you put in another guy that does the same exact thing. They're such a consistent team, these Detroit Pistons. But Tobias Harris, man, he's been phenomenal.
You know what else? You know what else I like about Tobias right now, CP? He didn't have 1 assist last night. You know what that tell me? Don't pass it to nobody. Keep pressure on the rim. If they're gonna put smaller guards on you, you got to take advantage of it. That's what I love more than anything in this stretch that he's in. He is taking advantage of every opportunity that he gets. If y'all are gonna put Schroeder and some of these other smaller guards on me, I'm just gonna make them pay. I'm gonna use my size. And Cleveland, they're not even running a double at him. He's being able to play 10 feet from the basket, one-on-one with his back turned. And even when he faces up, he's attacking the rim. I seen him have 2 or 3 dunks last night. In his stat line, he's 9 for 16 from the field. Only 3 of those were 3-point attempts, and he made 2 of those. That tells me that's somebody that's just being assertive. I'm being aggressive, and I'm not leaving anything to chance. I'm just going to take advantage of everything that this defense is giving me. That's what I love about it. So I don't care that he has 0 assists. Let Cade Cunningham make plays for guys like me, but I'm going to continue to put pressure on the defense.
Hey, now that we've given him his praises, can we talk about what happened on that Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell almost put him out of business now.
I've never seen a dude break his hip guarding a guy one-on-one. I thought he was out for the season, Lou, when he went
Yeah, I
down.
love that.
I've seen
My
ankle
group
breakers.
chat started
I've never
going
seen,
crazy. All my guys said, "Oh, Tobias is done for the season." Once they saw that play,
bro, I literally thought he was out. I've never seen someone throw their hip out of place, guarding a dude one-on-one. That was crazy.
Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. But can I add, like, if you were to drop someone down right now at just the last 7 games, because we've spent an entire season and then some talking about Detroit doesn't have a number 2, it would be funny to drop a person in right now and say, look at these stats for these last 7 games. I feel like this argument becomes moot. We're like, this argument was a waste of our time because here we are when it counts, and Tobias steps up. 5 straight wins, by the way, for Detroit. And they went down 3-1 to the Magic, and they haven't looked back since. And I know that a lot of people have the Knicks just automatically heading to the finals, but CP, they look all right. I mean, can we slow down a little bit? Detroit's got a shot.
Yeah, 100%. And this has been the most consistent, best team in the Eastern Conference all season long. And they held water when Cade Cunningham went out, and other guys have always stepped up in different roles. And now going to a game 7 against Orlando Magic, I think that brought them closer together. And I think they got the hard part. Not that there's going to be more, not there's not going to be more hard parts coming up, but they had a really tough, humbling experience and series in that first series where Orlando tested them. And we talked about bad matchup, this and that. They still overcame a lot of adversity in that series to pull out that win and to do what they did in game 6 on the road and go and blow them out and get the chance to even go back to a game 7. That's a huge growing moment for this team, just to be tested so early. And now on the flip side, Cleveland's also 4-0 at home against Toronto, in these playoffs. So this season or this series is a lot to go. There's a lot of basketball left. But the Detroit Pistons, we always talk about the game gets more physical and slower in the postseason. That is what they do best. And now you mix that in with Duncan playing his best basketball, Jenkins playing unreal, Tobias Harris playing unreal, and we still haven't seen the best of Jaylen Duren. This team is going to be just fine. But they got to get out of this series first because Toronto is really, really good at home. I mean, Cleveland.
yeah. Yeah, we're looking at Detroit and New York on a crash course, and it's gonna be a good one. Detroit has been the best team in the East all season long, right? So you got to give them that proper respect. It did look shaky against Orlando when they went down 3-1, but they found something, and they found something that worked, and now they're playing lights out. They won 5 in a row. You flip over to the New York Knicks side. The Boston Celtics have kind of been their Achilles heel. That's been the team that they haven't been able to get past. Now with Boston out of the runnings, you see a New York Knicks team that looks confident and looks prepared to try to take that next step. Both of these teams are trying to prove something. It's going to make for some really good basketball, but they absolutely have a chance in getting to the finals in the Detroit Pistons if they continue to play this way. We're getting production from 5-6 different guys in 5 or 6 different ways. And being able to go out there and compete at a high level. This Cleveland team isn't any slouch either. Look at what they went through in that first round against Toronto and what they've been able to do all season. Detroit is up 2-0 pretty convincingly against them. It looks like they're going to move on. New York, same thing, pretty convincing on their side against Philadelphia. I still feel like both of those teams that they're competing against have a lot of fight left in them, but it just looks like both are outmatched at this moment. So either New York or whether it be Detroit coming out of the East, it's a lot of basketball left to be played, but both of them are putting pretty good bids in right now for me.
Let's do a little Cleveland here, because before game 2, Donovan Mitchell talking about playoff pressure and his quote. You know how we are with quotes. This isn't pressure. Getting your next meal is pressure. Where am I going to live? That's pressure. This is an opportunity. This is fun. It's a hell of an everyman quote, Lou. I don't know that Cleveland fans necessarily want to hear that right now. Yeah. I don't know. Interpret this for me.
This is what I'll say, Beadle. I understand what he's trying to say, but in context, he was asked a basketball question. So answer it in basketball context. This is pressure. This is pressure. Now, I understand we're being worldly and we're trying to be smart and think outside of the box, and we say some of these things like Yeah, perspective.
Sure.
It's all about your point of view. He's absolutely right. Not knowing when your next meal is coming, that's absolutely pressure. Where you're gonna live, that's pressure. Those are real things. But in context of having this conversation, he was asked this in the context of a basketball game. So answered in a basketball sense. We understand what you're trying to say, but this is pressure now. You're down 0-2 in the playoffs, and people that's tuned in into these first world problems that we have or that are invested in the NBA playoffs, they want to know what's going to be your response to that. I understand the response. I don't love it because it was a question that was asked in context that he took out of context and
Hmm.
tried to make it something else, tried to make it deeper than what it was. But I don't love the response just simply based on the context that this question was asked in.
Yeah, like I totally understand what he's trying to say, right? There's levels of
Sure.
pressure. There's people living under the freeway right now that don't know where the next meal's coming from. I totally get that. But you're also at the same time, you're being asked a question about this season and your job and your career and your playoff series, and you're kind of belittling the situation that we're in right now and that we're talking about. So I agree with Lou. I think it's a little interesting. There is pressure here too. Like if after the
Oh God,
historic
yeah.
start in the season they had last year in Cleveland, failing in the playoffs. This year they kind of have an up and down regular season, but they're now advancing. If they don't at least get to the conference finals or win the East, that is a failure. And there's pressure to do that when you have a talented team like this. You make the move off Darius Garland, bring in James Harden, catch a little heater there, and start playing really, really good basketball. Like Evan Mobley, like Jared Allen, like you have enough here to be a championship team. Yet you're not competing for championships yet. So there is pressure in the playoffs to succeed and continue to survive and advance. And if they don't again this year in the second round, there's probably going to be some turnover there and some change. So there is pressure for this team and expectations that they simply aren't meeting right now. And that's a problem. And obviously Donovan Mitchell, he's been phenomenal all year. Like he's going to be an all NBA type player. Numbers
Sure.
are slightly down in the playoffs right now, but like there is pressure on this team to win and to advance. And it's looking like they're not gonna. So there's probably gonna be some adjustments made accordingly.
Oh no, there's a ticking clock, and there's a that's going to happen at the end
Yeah.
of this thing.
I just didn't love the response
I
in the
get it.
moment.
I
Yeah.
mean, he did
Like we
drop
all get it.
31. Like the pressure's on
Yeah,
James
like
Harden.
like make no bones about it. We all get it. We understand what real life pressure is. But when we're
Sure.
subscribing to the NBA playoffs and somebody asks you about pressure in the context of a basketball game, answer it in the context of a basketball game. You know, like and when the last time you missed a meal? When the last time you've been under pressure
I
about
mean,
your
there's
living
that.
situation, Don? Like, come on, don't do us like that. Like we just want to hear your honest opinion. It's okay to say, yeah, we down 0-2. We headed back home. We're under a little pressure right now. Let's see how we deal with it. That would have been an acceptable answer to me and to the fan base from just wanting to hear what his point of view is being down 0-2 in this situation. So it was somewhat of a cop out to me. This is the first time that I've seen him answer a question
Mm.
in this sort of way where I was just kind of like, I'm not really feeling that. He usually gives us a great uh, perspective on things, but I just think the way that that question was asked, that wasn't the answer we were looking for,
You know what
especially
the
being
answer we
down.
were, this is what we were looking for, Donovan. We were looking for, you know, who should feel pressure and doesn't seem to be affected at all. And then just point down the line, your teammate, James Harden. Cause that would
Yeah.
have been the proper response. Cause what in the name of sports psychology is wrong with this dude, you guys? Like he should be studied for generations to come. More turnovers once again than field goals made, a negative 15, minus 15 in the plus minus. I don't know about you guys. This bad playoff performance, James Harden, he's running out of time, Chandler, to beat this narrative at this point.
Yeah, I don't want to belittle his career and his resume and everything he's done, but it's a glaring hole that his production, his efficiency is down throughout his playoff career. And again, this team, this organization made this move to get off Darius Garland, to get James Harden, to be better right now and to compete for championships right now. Like this was a short-sighted. What can we do right now to get better and to capitalize on this season and this talent that we have? And that was to get James Harden. I do think they are better off for it. Obviously, at his age, with the age of Darius Garland, it wasn't a future type move. But James Harden was great during the regular season. That's never been his issue. Now we've seen the inefficiency. We've seen a lot of these 3 for 13 games. The idea of him having more turnovers than field goals also is so crazy to me, because scoring is usually so easy for him. He can get any shot off that he's ever wanted. He's such an unbelievable ISO player, and he's transformed in a bit more of a point guard, especially in this role here. And Donovan Mitchell is now playing that kind of James Harden type role that he's been used to his whole career. But he's got to be better. There's no doubt about it. He is the second best player. He handles the ball a lot for this offense. He's got to take care of the ball a lot better and be that more solid kind of floor general and pick his spots when he can go and score, because they need both. They need all of that. They need the best version of James Harden they could possibly give him right now, especially down 2-0 against a team that will punk you, and they will defend you, and they will make things a living hell for you on the offensive end, and they know how to do that. And they got 9, 10, 11 guys that they can sub in and out that are interchangeable to make it difficult on you. So he's got to be better. I think we've all been waiting for him to kind of take that next step and win a championship. That's all that James Harden, is missing on his resume. And it's just he's not playing his best basketball when we need him to play his best basketball, if that makes sense.
Are we still hold on? Are we still holding on that he's going to get a ring? We still doing that or no?
It's not looking good. As great of a player as he is, he should have one. But at 36 years old, 17 NBA seasons, and not having a great postseason, the clock doesn't go backwards. He looked like he's running out of time. And I said it on the show the other day, and I kind of got some funny looks when I said it. I just don't feel like his game has evolved in the past 5 years to another level. Usually when you get up in age and you get to the latter parts of your career, you add something or you slow something down. You catch the ball closer to the rim. You try to change up what people have seen and what they've gotten a steady diet of. We've got a steady diet of him being fouled. We've got a steady diet of him shooting three-pointers. We've got a steady diet of him being fouled on three-pointers. Now you take three-point success out of it. He was 0 for 4 from the three-point line last night. You take free throw success out of it. He was 4 for 4 from the three-point line, free throw line last night. But we're used to James Harden shooting upwards of 12 to 14 free throws in a game. So that tells me he's not getting fouled as much. People aren't going for the foul baiting. They're not going for fouling him as much. They're making him finish at the rim. They're making him finish these three-pointers and make shots at a high clip. He hasn't been able to do it. It's something that he hasn't adjusted to. Instead of looking for fouls when you get in the lane, am I a lob threat? Am I looking for a lob threat, or am I looking to finish? It looked like he's still looking for fouls, and teams aren't bailing him out. That's what I mean when I say his game hasn't evolved, especially so late in the game. This is probably the version of James Harden we're going to see until the end of time, until his career is over. If this is the brand of basketball that he's going to play, and if he's going to play it at this level where he's getting more turnovers than he is field goal makes, it looks like he's not going to get a ring. So that would be my opinion.
And just for fun stats to take into the weekend, Evan Mobley, the Giant, 1 rebound. Make it make sense. Let's move on to a series. a lot of jump shots. Here's a series that Michelle Beadle has called pointless. Thunder, Lakers, game 2, 125-107 is your final. OKC, SGA with 22 in 28 minutes. He got a little foul trouble there. Chet with 22, 9 rebounds, 4 steals. Jared McCain, woohoo, 18 points, 18 minutes. Austin Reeves had 31, 6 assists, 5 turnovers. A lot of yapping out of Austin Reeves on this one. LeBron with 23, 6 assists, and 3 steals. And this is sort of a replica of game 1, you guys. For a hot minute, it really felt like, oh my God, they're in it. There's a chance they could do it. And then there was the brutal reality, Chandler, that this OKC team is absolutely beyond ridiculously deep. I don't know, beyond the fact that they're the deepest team in the league at the moment, let's go into history. When's the last time you remember a team this deep in these playoffs able to do what they do?
Maybe the Thunder last year.
That's fair. Good answer.
That might be the only team that's close.
Now they Golden State Warriors. That 16-17 team was pretty deep. They were pretty
good.
Yeah, there's been some deep teams.
And they had household names. They had household names on that team. So
it's a good counter.
I like this Thunder group, but that Warriors team, they had household names coming off the bench.
That Warriors team, the Sean Livingstons of they were great, and they were a dynasty. And now this team has become that and even more and even deeper. Like this team is outrageous. When you look at this, 6 players in double figures, 3 players
Crazy.
scoring, 20 plus. And if you didn't watch the game, and if I asked you, Michelle, tell me which 3 players scored over 20, like you probably wouldn't get it
Probably
right.
wouldn't know.
Not necessarily.
Like you probably wouldn't say AJ Mitchell. It's like you
Nope.
just wouldn't. They're so, and this is without their second best player playing. Let's not forget. And they still go 9, 10, 11, 12 deep. Like
And by
they
the
are
way,
outrageous.
no one plays
Go ahead.
over 33 minutes, Chandler. No one. Like,
Yeah,
that's
it's like
insane to me.
That's the thing we need to talk about, Chandler,
Like,
because as
how?
we see teams wear down, the Thunder are still rolling and nobody's playing major minutes. We got to get into that.
Yeah, they're younger than everybody, and they just beat the brakes off everybody where they don't even have to play crazy minutes, and the usage is just down. And again, their second 5 is just as good as some other first 5s, like in the NBA. It is crazy. Like when I sit there and watch as a player and as an analyst now, like their offense looks fun. Their offense looks easy. Everyone knows their role. Everyone, if you watch them, everyone's always in their spot. They never shortcut. They cut so hard. They screen. They get deep in the corners. Like there is no skimping in this offense. There is no shortcuts. It's such a selfless thing where no one cares when they score and they just get the best possible shot every time down. Obviously, they make some mistakes. They turn the ball over and they're going to miss shots some nights, but the balance and the depth of this team is really, really insane. And it could be someone different every single night. Like they have legitimately 10 starters like on this team. Like when you start talking Case and Wallace's and Caruso's and Mitchell's, like the other Jaylen Williams, like has really shown who he is this season.
They have 2 Jaylen Williams. Like that's all you need to know. They have 2 dudes named Jaylen Williams that are both good.
Like I'm 37 years old and retired now from really long time. Like I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of this team when I watch them play. Like it's so impressive and such a family type positive energy vibe where they just kick your ass and they have fun and they play the right way. And obviously a lot of it goes to the guys on the team, but Mark Dagnall's done such a great job. And Sam Presti, you can't say enough about him, just where he's built this team. And the future might even be set up better than the present right now because their picks and everything they have going for them in the future is even better. So this team is outrageous. They're top heavy. They're bottom heavy. They got great coaching. It's just I'm running out of things to say against.
What can you say?
You definitely running out of things to say. Top heavy, bottom heavy.
I bet their facility is nice. I bet their locker rooms. Cool.
I bet it's lovely.
Tubs at just the perfect temp. Like they just do everything. Right.
Everyone's got a nice car. I just really am sick of this team. I hate them. Lou.
They got it all. They got it all figured out. I love this team and the crazy thing about it just looks like it. They're not slowing down. They're not going anywhere. Their depth is so crazy. Like when SGA goes out of the game, this team somewhat gets better because the identity changes. You know, they have 5 guys on the floor that need all 5 guys to be successful. So in return, only thing they do is just play hard as hell and they share the basketball and they just root for each other and they're happy about each other's success on the floor. That's what makes this team dangerous. A lot of times when your best player goes off of the floor, all hell breaks loose usually. Somebody is trying to be the hero and trying to get off. That's not the case with this team. They just continue to play team basketball. It's no break for you when the second group comes in, and that's what makes them so strong. It never ends with this team. Now, can we make a case? Are they a better team without SGA? Absolutely not. I don't think so. I think they'll be a regular basketball team without him because they can do this in 7 to 8 minute stretches, but can you do it for 48 minutes night in and out? That is a different conversation that we're having. But for 7-8 minutes in a basketball game in the first half and another 7-8 minutes in the game in the second half, can you hold it down and create leads for a team until your starters get back in? This team has proven time and time again that they can do it at that level for this group.
Lou, let me tweak that then. Not that if they're a better team without SGA, because I'm not going to sit here and say that. Yeah. However, I am going to say in this particular series, given that game 1 was his worst scoring game of the season, and then this last game he had some foul problems, 22 and 28 minutes, and they still end up winning by 18. Yeah. Could they beat the Lakers? Another 2 games without him.
I don't know. We're having a different conversation. I know we're in woulda, coulda land, but Again, we're
I
talking
mean,
about
it's
this.
something.
We're talking about 7, 8 minute stretches where they look really good until he gets back on the court. We can't deny the fact of his presence being out there, the defense that he needs, him being able to get to the free throw line to slow the game down, him missing shots. Even though he's not having these big scoring outbursts, he's still taking his attempts. He's still being a big presence on that floor. Now, when you take him off of there completely for 48 minutes, that changes the scouting report. That changes how you guard Chet. That changes how you attack from your secondary group. It changes a lot. It changes the identity of a group. They're 8-6 without him this year. That's almost 50%. You know, a little bit over being a 500 basketball team. That's not gonna win you. That's not going to win you a playoff series. So can they beat the Lakers without SGA? Who knows? But I wouldn't give them the best shot, even though they are as deep as they can, because in playoff basketball, you take away a lot of options. Now, if SGA is your main option and he's out of the game, you can put more pressure. You can put more looks on Chet. If you're gonna take that away, then who's gonna become a star for 30 to 35 minutes opposed to 10, 15 minutes? That becomes the difference in strategy for me. No.
Just put a blindfold on and pick. Somebody will be a star.
I want to preface this by saying this has nothing to do with SGA or the Lakers, because they're not whole either, and they need Luka.
100%.
I completely disagree, Lou. I think they beat the Lakers in a series without SGA. I think they beat a lot of teams in the NBA without SGA. And yes, his presence is undeniable. The scout.
I don't think in a series.
Number one.
A one-off, sure, not in a series.
I think
depends
also
on the team.
With SGA out, Jaylen Williams can do more. Chet can do more. Those guys can now. I think they're talented enough.
He's out.
I'm just saying.
Other Jaylen Williams.
I'm just saying. No. I'm talking about
Santa Clara Jaylen Williams.
I'm talking about Luka fully. I'm just talking about this team in general.
Well, see,
I think
now we
SGA,
way deep in we deep in woulda coulda led. I'm saying if as it stands right now, we take SGA out of this.
and
Am I
Jaylen
moving
Williams
the
is out.
goalposts or you moving the goalposts? I don't know who's moving the goalposts here.
In this
But-
series right now with 2 games left to win,
Okay.
Could you take
up
SGA
2-0, up 2-0?
Yeah,
I
correct.
think they still close out the
they
series.
finish.
I was
too.
thinking just in general, like, oh yeah, if SGA is out, that's fine. We got Jaylen Williams as our new number 1 option, and Chet Holmgren and Jared McCain will be our starting 2 guard, and he'll probably average 22. Like that's what I was saying. From that point where I still think they are very, very good.
It just changes. Like if Jared McCain has to play 30 minutes opposed to 18, is it the same when he's in that scout? Is it the same when he's being guarded by the top guy that you can possibly guard? I'm not saying that he can or can't. What I'm saying is the dynamic changes when that happens on a team. Everything that happens for these guys is kinetic energy. Is because cause and effect. You can't double SGA because he has so many shooters around. Once you take him off the court, somebody has to be that next guy. And if you take that next guy away or you force him to be the guy, say a Chet, that just changes the identity of the team. And I think the sample size that we've seen in 14 games, they're roughly they're barely over a 500 basketball team being 8-6. I just don't know if they get you through a series without him. That's
in those 14 games.
We're having a fairy tale conversation.
This is how good they are, by the way. We're having this conversation.
In those 14 games, who else didn't play? Because they rest 3 guys every single night. So maybe those 6 losses, Hartenstein didn't play, Caruso didn't play, not just SGA.
Yeah.
They also rest.
A lot changes. A lot changes, sure.
You know what this is? This is just the newest version of if you took their second 5, would they make the playoffs in the Western Conference or the Eastern Conference or anything? So they're too good, by the way. After the game, look, everyone,
by the way,
we know how the rest of the league, I think they would too. The rest of the league hates the whistle, but this is a real moment. Lakers have had it. They're having a full-on tete-a-tete with the refs after this one, and being led by Austin Reeves. What do we think was said here, guys? What do you think?
I think this was more. This was more about Austin Reeves. He had an issue with how he was spoke to during this game. I don't know if this was about the whistle in general. I think this was about how he was being communicated to as an individual, and then the guys got into that conversation. That's my opinion. I have no information outside of what he said post game in his press conference about his interaction with I think his name is Mark, the referee. I think they were having a conversation about what was spoke to Austin as an individual. I don't know if this was about what goes on with OKC in the foul calls that they get.
How about the whole team, though? Like, I've never seen the whole team just kind of be there for the meeting.
Well,
like, it's funny.
I think obviously Austin was frustrated and he was worked up, and you can see
say a bad word.
There's a viral clip where he kind of says, "Don't talk like that," and throws the P word at him. Like,
P-word
there was some physical plays where he got the short end of the stick, where SGA got the tech on him, and like, so I think he was just built up frustration of how he was being officiated, the whistle he was getting, and then the way he was spoken to by the official. I think that's all it was. I don't think this was a powwow about the foul baiting or getting less calls or that. By the way, these refs aren't going to be the referees next game anyways, but I just think he wanted to get that off his chest to this particular referee.
Might as well.
But that's all this was. He was just frustrated, and he did get some tough no calls, but he also got some, like, it's part of the game. But I've never seen the whole team powwow.
I've never seen it
after the game, but clearly he wanted to get it off his chest.
And by the way, we're going to get Sam Amick. Can I say this? The best meme I saw about LeBron and Austin Reeves in that video was LeBron is the husband at the front desk at the hotel as your wife is yelling at them for each itemized. And I shouldn't laugh at that, but that was sort of the dynamic between my mom and my dad, so I kind of get it. Sam I just call him Sam now. Sam from The Athletic. Sam Amick was there last night. Sam, first of all, have you seen a complete and total team meeting with the refs post-game? Because that was weird.
Good morning, my friends. This is the hotel edition.
What's up, Sam?
Nice.
I have not, and I was just telling your producer offline because I knew we were going to talk referees. OKC, if you get lucky enough to get one of the good media seats, they have the best media seats in the league. And so I heard every single word of the referee stuff. I heard the P word. I heard Austin going crazy, LeBron, all of it. But no, I have not seen that I can remember a powwow with an official after the game. My favorite part was the Thunder were watching all of the Lakers surround the refs and having a little bit of FOMO, clearly. And then Shea, I could hear him. He looks at, I think, Ben Taylor, and he kind of shouts, "Hey, Ben, can we get a meeting too? Like, is everybody just like meeting with the refs?" This little post-game powwow. It was crazy. I mean, Austin, Chandler, you hit it on the head. He was upset with John Goble because at the jump ball, he was trying to jostle for position with Case and Wallace. And John basically got sick and tired of everybody moving around and took it out on Austin. He turned around and shouted in Austin's face, like you would shout at your 5-year-old, and he didn't appreciate it. So it was a little spicy.
Which is,
Chandler,
by the way, unacceptable.
Yeah.
Like you want to show respect to the referees, and you don't want to show them up as a referee.
Right.
You can't do that to a player as well,
Right.
especially on the playoff. Like, come on,
John. I said Mark. John.
Just John,
Yeah,
Mark.
John Goble.
Also, it does make
Taylor,
it worse
Mark
that the other
Lindsay.
team is just trolling you the whole time. Like,
Well, that hurts. That's your. And by
Yeah.
the way, Sam, I noticed that little throwaway line in there, and Chandler, I hope you caught it as well. We just rattled off all the things that makes OKC better than everybody else, and they also have the best media section. So, like, just add that to the list of they're just perfect. They're so perfect.
Yeah.
Look, the Lakers are. This is a heck of a war they're in right now with not all their weapons, and I'm imagining people are just desperate for the return of Luka. We know what the weak situation is. 5. He's supposed to be 8. Is there a shot in the world he makes it to this series?
No, I don't think so. I was there the other day when he did surprisingly did media. Oh, you guys still got me?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay, sorry. He did media, and it kind of surprised us that he talked. It wasn't expected. It wasn't on the calendar. If I'm being honest with you guys, I think he was trying to control the narrative a little bit and get out in front of the timeline discussion. And he kept repeating the 8-week timeline. Like you said, that's a long ways out. I mean, that would be the end of the next round potentially. And he also brought up context that is fair to talk. You know, he mentioned the Dallas experience, or kind of alluded to the calf strain that was a point of contention during kind of the final days with the Mavericks, and the idea that he had learned the hard way in the past to not push his way back with soft tissue type of injuries. So he didn't sound to me like a guy at all who was thinking of rushing back. And you feel for him, and you watch him again from this great media seat. Watching Luka during these games is agonizing. I mean, he's miserable. He's getting into it with the refs too, just because you got to put that energy somewhere. And you can tell he wants to be out there, but I don't think he's going to push it back.
Yeah, Sam, and obviously the Lakers have a lot of decisions this summer, right? They got the big extension for Austin Reeves, but now, also the LeBron future. Like, there was all the reports that he's not going to return. That article came out, but now I feel like we're getting the sense that he's going to be a Laker next year, right?
It feels.
We might have lost Hotel Sam. Dang you, Hotel Sam.
What do you think, Chandler? What do you think of the future of LeBron?
Those hard-hitting questions.
It's the haunted OKC Wi-Fi. Yeah, well,
I do.
It is weird how this is taking a turn. You do?
But
did we not think he wasn't going to be like 20 minutes ago? Literally.
I still say no.
I still say no.
Oh, I think he's back.
Yeah, no.
And do we think
Sam's back too?
Last year?
Oh, Sam's back. LeBron might be back. Oh, this is just a great day all around. Hi, Sam. Okay, you were saying future of LeBron.
Yeah, Wi-Fi is failing us.
Is it something I said, Sam?
It's definitely Chandler's fault.
Oh, Christ's sake, Sam.
Son of a mother. All right, you know what?
I feel like he knows
OKC.
where he's going. He knows where he's going, and he's just turning off the Wi-Fi every time I ask a question.
Sam's credit better than that.
If
with
anybody,
us. He usually gives us something good.
Wait,
I know
Lou,
he's going to say something.
Where do you think so next year is his last year, and he's going elsewhere, or next year is not as even as last year?
Just as a fan, I think all signs lead to a Cleveland reunion for the second time.
Yeah, Lou's a romantic. He likes that whole Disney ending.
And he goes off into the sunset. I'm in the big finishes when it comes to careers. I would love to see that. Just with the relax, just with the Lakers, just with everything that's going on with the Lakers, the fans kind of grumbling earlier on in the season. I just feels like if there is a time for a fairy tale happy ending, it's in Cleveland for me. That's my opinion.
Sam, I'm not going to ask you again.
Well, look,
I'm not saying
Sam,
anything.
being as though we can't get you stay online for the Lakers, let's flip over to the Houston Rockets side. Maybe the Wi-Fi let us talk about the Houston Rockets. Obviously, those
I think
guys
LeBron's a Laker. That's all I got. Let's
boom.
There we go.
Yeah.
We'll take that. What are you hearing out of Houston when it comes to the future of KD? We've been hearing some rumblings about them possibly moving on and having some conversations, but it's all hearsay. Have you heard anything different?
I have not gotten any indication that's in the cards. I mean, listen, this is the time of year where every team has got to unpack what they weren't able to accomplish. There was a ton of frustration with that Rockets group with how they finished. It's funny because, when they did the Kevin move, they obviously shortened the runway when it comes to their group. So now it's a tricky fork in the road, right? Where it's, do you double down and go chase another star? They have the assets where they could put a good package together for a Giannis or a Kawhi Leonard, somebody like that. The messaging coming out of that playoff series was they still believe in the young group and we're going to work around the edges. I don't see Kevin moving, but we'll see where that goes. He's got 1 year left before an option year, and he didn't play in 4 of the 5 games in that series, so we didn't really see what they were at the end.
Yeah, that just feels like an unfinished project. Houston does to me.
And
anyways.
You're getting Fred back. You're getting Steven Adams back. Like, see what this team is like whole before you just make a premature move, in my opinion.
Right.
Agreed.
Şengün is the one that, it's a question. I don't know if Milwaukee likes Şengün that much, but that's the one people talk about. Is like if you flipped Şengün for Giannis, and do something like that. But, we'll see.
The most overrated player in the NBA, Şengün.
Yeah,
that is a thing. That did happen. Yeah, you blaming me?
I don't know why, but I feel like I should.
We saw your vote.
81 dudes. Can we talk real quick on Celtics? Because I know Jaylen Brown has had a week. Basically, he did this. He was on his live stream and he said this was his favorite season of all time. And that was interpreted very negatively by fans of the team. And so you got T-Mac out there kind of sort of trying to buffer for him. I don't know what he meant. I don't know what he feels. I don't know what is his heart, but it feels like the Celtics and Jaylen Brown are at a weird place right now, which makes me think, is this Giannis to Boston thing, which you reported is possible? Are we looking at that happening? Is Jaylen Brown making that happen?
I'd be lying if I didn't admit that, like, when this stuff surfaced, it kind of like helped me connect some dots. Because when I reported what I reported, admittedly, you're kind of going, damn, it looks like this whole group's in a good place. Like, why is this the intel? Why did it seem like there were indications that they had shown interest in Giannis at the deadline quietly? And then you kind of see, okay, the dynamic with Jaylen might be a little bit tricky. I mean, Michelle, you're dead on that. Like, he's bringing this on himself because he's just saying a lot on his stream. You talk about how it's the best season of your career when you bow out in the first round, and when you spend most of it without your co-star alongside you, that's going to send a weird type of message. Now, it should, in fairness, be said that he walked some of it back on the back end and said that he felt bad that Brad Stevens had to address this with the media, that if he could, he'd be a Celtic for the next 10 years. But, he's a very smart guy who was smart enough to know how these comments were going to land. And then, the T-Mac thing was strange because people know their relationship. The Celtics, when I looked into it with them, naturally they're taking the like nothing to see here approach. Everything's fine. But I do think it's for sure worth watching. And even Brad in his press conference, for a guy who doesn't actually say that much publicly, if you go back and study what he had to say, he left darn near every door open in terms of, what some of the possibilities are here with their team.
I wonder if this is a big deal if they don't lose. Like before they were down 3-1, if he's saying this is my best year of basketball, we applauded him as if this was his best year in basketball. So I wonder how much of them losing the 3-1 lead is this being considered with these comments to me.
No, I agree, Lou. But don't you think that's fair? You know what I mean? Like, it's
I see both sides.
Yeah. I mean, Jaylen had an incredible year, and that shouldn't be taken away. But the other thing is the backdrop of there's a pretty long history with people around the league just kind of wondering, essentially, like if Jaylen was enjoying his experience in Boston. I mean, there's been, nuanced stories about, the city's relationship with the racial history and things that bothered Jaylen back then, and Bill Russell experience. And there's always been this undercurrent of, does Jaylen still want to be here? How does he feel about the way he's treated out there? That's been a thing for a minute. And this, I think, kind of fed into that.
Also, I want to make sure, because saying it's my best season of basketball versus my favorite season of basketball, I think those are slightly different. One feels more just like an emotional preference for this one, and that got people wondering.
And by the
why.
way, he had an unbelievable series. We were talking about this dude in the MVP race,
of
like
course,
first team All NBA. Like, this guy had an unreal without Jason Tatum for the majority of the season. Like, he had a hell of a season. So I understand where he's coming from with that side.
But favorites, I think favorite was the word that got everyone. By the way, sticking with the Giannis real quick, I know Taylor Jenkins has been introduced as the new coach. Jimmy Haslam went out there and talked about it and said that we're going to make a decision on his future before the NBA draft. They also made it very clear that when they talked to Taylor Jenkins, they said, we don't know if he's going to be here or not. Don't take this job based just on that, which I thought was very, very interesting, Sam, as far as like taking a new gig. What do you make of what Haslam had to say here?
Yeah, I mean, to your point about Taylor, they paid a price for that framing of the job, meaning that, the numbers are, I didn't get all the way to the exact numbers, but it's without question an 8-figure salary for Taylor Jenkins, and a guy who, as someone said to me yesterday, very good coach. He's won one playoff series. And so in terms of the coaching market and the economics that you typically see, there was some surprise that Taylor was coming in at that high of a number. And the general belief is that that's kind of the price you pay when you want that coach and you are telling him, we have no idea what the roster is going to look like. You're going to have to be comfortable, one way or the other. And obviously Taylor decided to do it. Of course, he's got history in Milwaukee, was an assistant under Mike Budenholzer, has a good relationship with Giannis. So we'll see. I kind of loved Jimmy Haslam's transparency. It's not often that we just have owners out there publicly saying what it is. We're going to look at it. We don't know if he's going to be with us. I feel like it's been a good playoffs for the Bucks when you want to talk about Giannis's market. Like, there's so many teams that had championship aspirations that fell short, that now, presumably are going to be incentivized to put even more on the table than they did back at the February trade deadline. That's the type of thing that for the sake of Bucks fans, if they do move on from Giannis, maybe it gets them the kind of package where they can really turn the corner and build with some good young pieces, or maybe even some stars. So we'll see. And then the other thought real quick is, Giannis is going to have his say here. He's going to put his foot on the scale, and I think at some point, in terms of pushing towards a team that he wants to play for, and that part is going to be a big factor as well.
It's going to be fun. Chandler, you live?
Let's talk a little Warriors here. Let's talk a little Warriors.
That was natural, very natural.
Steve Kerr is still undecided on returning. Draymond just called out Kerr for, hindering his career. Steph Curry one more year. Like, how do you see the summer playing out for the Warriors and all these decisions that they have to make?
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange summer in the Bay. There's a Giannis component there. They still would love to be the winners of those sweepstakes. The Steve Kerr thing was never, it didn't seem like it was ever supposed to take this long. The first week of updates, the people that you would check in with would feel like maybe by the end of the week, there'd be an answer. And then everybody got even more quiet and, close to the vest with the information. And then it was 2 weeks, and then it was 3 weeks. And now what's interesting is you got the lottery coming up on Sunday, and the Warriors do have, I forget the percentages, but a chance to get a decent pick. And it almost, in my opinion, brings up some old wounds potentially. If you're Joe Lacob and you're sitting here at a fork in the road with Steve Kerr, and you're thinking about the Jonathan Kuminga experience and the James Wiseman experience, and you're kind of wondering, all right, Steve, if we get a top 5 pick, like, are you going to pour into him and really, develop this guy? Because that has been an issue for them in the past. But it seems like, and again, we certainly could be wrong here. It doesn't seem to me that it would take this long if he was going to bounce. I would at this point handicap that he comes back for sure. Do not know that.
Yeah.
Beyond that, you've got, Jimmy Butler's going to be out a lot of next season. Moses Moody out most of next season. So much of their payroll is tied up in guys that can't even hit the floor. So a lot of challenges out there.
Hypothetically, he doesn't come back. Sam, what are some big names or any names that we'll hear kind of for that position?
It's hard to say. I mean, if you look at like the past his prologue approach to Joe Lacob's hiring, he went outside the box to get Steve Kerr. He was a TNT analyst. He had never been a head coach when he replaced Mark Jackson. So, Joe's shown a willingness to kind of think a little bit differently. You hear some of the old familiar Warriors names, if Mike Brown didn't make it through the Knicks experience, does he come back? I've seen even Andre Iguodala floated. Everybody knows that, how much people hold him in high regard in general, but certainly in Warriors land. So maybe they go the coaching or the college coaching route. I don't have hard intel on that front yet. And I think that's because, right now the smart money is on Steve probably coming back.
Well, let me get your opinion on Steph. Do you think there is a world where Steph possibly leaves and chases rings, or do we reset in Golden State and bring some big name guys? Which one do you think is more likely?
I still don't see it, Lou. Never say never. We've seen stranger things in the league. I do always think back to, there was that funny moment a couple months ago where Steph did an interview in Charlotte as part of his dad's retirement, having his jersey retired in Charlotte. And he had this funny comment to a local reporter about how, he thinks if he ever came back that his dad would probably let him, wear his number. And it was just a joke, but it was enough to go, dang, okay, like that. Again, it's like Jaylen Brown. Like, these guys are smart enough to know how that's going to land with the fans and the audience. So I don't see it. I mean, Steph is so ingrained in the Bay, even beyond basketball, with his family and with his charity stuff and with everything he's got going. But, if it's dire, then, I mean, my thing is Steph looks like he can play 5 more years. So, during that time, could I see him deciding to try something different and maybe go back home? Who knows?
Yeah, I feel like chasing rings is misleading. Leave, sure. Chase rings? No. Why would he? By the way, we joked about the anonymous player poll, but I do have to ask, because it gets people riled up. It's provocative, Sam. Is there anything that you wanted to get out there that got shut down? Like, is there anything that kind of gets talked about as a topic or a category?
No, I mean, it's funny because, we joked about the overrated thing and just to pull the curtain all the way back, like we had this internal meeting, right? And one of our people was like, people were pretty fired up about overrated. What if we scrap it this year? And I'll be honest, I was like, it's the most talked about thing. I'm a sucker for knowing how guys feel about each other, positive or negative. Lou, your point about sample size is fair. You know what I mean? Because when you really break it down, like it's not like half the league said that Şengün was overrated. Now, the opposite side of that is if you look at the history and the list of guys that have won that award, then like it kind of tracks, in terms of the way guys get talked about. It's Trae Young, it's Rudy Gobert, it's Tyrese Halliburton last year, which he made good work of that distinction with his finals run. So, but nothing that didn't make it out other than, we might need to go back to some more referee questions, given how things have been going lately. I mean, we've done that in the past, like best and worst refs, and you see players' eyes just light up, like, oh yeah, I'll answer that.
Yeah,
one,
that's what I would.
400 dudes vote.
Right, exactly.
Talk about that for sure.
Lou would like that. Although Lou, you also don't want them to get any play, so it's a tricky one for you.
Yeah, I don't want the referees to be highlighted because once you create personalities, you got to deal with those personalities, and I just think it's bad for business.
Yeah, we can't make like Tony Brothers. We can't make Tony Brothers famous. He would take it and run.
Or Zach Zarba.
It was.
He really
I will admit it was always fun.
He'd get an endorsement for the hair.
He does have good hair. It was always fun to ask players about the refs because a lot of times they knew who they hated, but they didn't know his name. So they'd be like, that one dude with the mustache, and you're having to like break it down. So yeah.
God, that's awesome. Year. Sam, safe travels to your next stop. Chandler, safe travels to you.
Sam.
Happy weekend, y'all.
Thanks, guys.
See y'all on Monday.
Appreciate it.